Which, by the way, I want to talk about that, Phil, because we had a discussion, I believe last week, because the game I have been playing is more Marvel Rivals. None of us can put it down. We're going to dive right into that conversation because we've all been playing it. New characters, Johnny Storm, The Thing, are out. We've played them. We'll get into that in a second. New map as well, Connor. Very nice. Mid-season break in competitive ranking. Well, not break, but mid-season point in competitive. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But I want to talk to you, Phil, because last week we talked about hours played in Marvel Rivals. Now, we play on PlayStation, and PlayStation has a game counter on all of your games that you play. And for me, it's always wildly inaccurate. Usually it puts in way too many hours. Sometimes it doesn't put enough hours on. Very rarely is it an accurate counter of hours played in a video game. And I've realized that it's very, very wrong. Because last week, I think I said I was around the 80-ish hour mark, according to the PlayStation. And now I'm at 130. And I've not played 50, 60 hours of Marvel Rivals this week. I just haven't. So in-game, it does count your hours. It even gives you hours breakdown on characters and so forth. And my hour count is not even to the 40-hour mark yet. So I'm curious, Phil, because you've played the most of us. I'm curious if you've even broken 60.
That's interesting because my game clock, I mean, it didn't jump like yours did. I believe last week I still said I was hovering around 130. Now I'm at 136.
Yeah, mine jumped hard.
I'm actually curious. I'm gonna really quick, if you can vamp, I'm gonna find that.
Yeah, what I'm curious about what it's doing is specifically because it's a multiplayer game. It's still kind of keeping the play session alive when I put my PlayStation in rest mode, because when you open up the PlayStation again and it's a multiplayer game, it goes, hey, you've been disconnected from the server. Maybe run a diagnostic test, maybe just skip this and reconnect or something like that. It does that every time you put it in rest mode and come back. So my thought is I've put it in rest mode while active in the game, and I've come back hours later, and it just keeps that counter going in that, and that's why I've suddenly jumped 50 hours, because I've played a lot of Marvel Rivals this week, keep putting it in rest mode, coming back 12, 15, 20 hours later, and that timer just keeps adding up. I think that's what's going on.
Do you care about
my time played for all seasons, all modes? 73.7 hours.
Damn.
Jesus. Yeah.
Very nice. You were saying?
I was saying, do you really care?
I would like an accurate hour count.
Because you got to focus on that more than your skill at the game, which is not increasing.
No, it's not about. No, I would like an accurate hour count with all video games.
Sure.
It's not like a Marvel Rivals thing. I want to know how long I've been playing each game.
Like your little numbers, because you got glasses on.
I mean, you can benchmark progress based around these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of it's interesting the statistic to see how long it took me to beat this game, right? Because there's a reason there's a whole website out there called How Long to Beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, Marvel Rivals somewhere in the high 30s, low 40s at this point. I want to talk real quick because we're at that mid-season point in the competitive season right now, season 1 of competitive.
Platinum 2.
Phil, congratulations. I'm at gold 1 right now, edging into platinum 3, right? And I want to have a conversation. We need to be honest, Marvel Rivals fans. We need to be honest. If you stop climbing, it's for a reason. And it's not other people. That's just where you belong. And we all need to just humble ourselves and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I belong. I'm still climbing, right? I know I'm still climbing. Phil, you're still climbing with me. You and I are climbing together. I'll tell you, Phil, I'm getting close to my ceiling. I can feel it. It's just what it is. Will I break into platinum? Yes. Will I get to platinum 1? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I'll tell you what else? Probably not getting into diamond, because I don't got enough hours in the day to grind and get better at the game to the point to where I can get to diamond. I'm probably just not going to get there. And I need to, and me as the player need to take onus of that and just know, hey, that's fine. I'm still here to have fun with the game. And I don't base my own self-worth based around what a video game says how good or bad I am. And I'll remind you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you're in gold, you're already higher than 75% of the player base. My question to you is, if you stop climbing, when is enough enough? When is enough? Listen, there are 40 million active Marvel Rivals players. All right, there's 40 million of them. You're in the top 75 plus of them. Listen, there can only be 500 top players out of 40 million. Your chances of hitting that top 500 non-existent. You're not gonna hit that.
No,
You know?
I've never even thought about me being in the top 500.
Yeah,
So.
like Grandmaster or whatever that rank is, Celestial, whatever that rank is. That's got to be.
I think it's one above all is the highest. I think.
That's got to be like
One above all.
top 5% of players. You think you're going to be in the top 5% of Marvel Rivals players out
I
of
honestly,
40 million?
I think it's lower than that. I think it's lower than that. I think
Literally.
it's like top 1.
So here's the thing. If you get stuck in gold, if you get stuck in platinum, fuck it. If you get stuck in silver, be happy you are where you are and have fun with the video game. Take onus on yourself and just know, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what it is. And because this comes from a problem of my Overwatch days. Now, Connor, you and I have, or Phil too, of course. I don't know why I just said Connor because he's right here in front of me. Because we played in those Overwatch days. That's why. You and I have friends who are very good at multiplayer games. Very, very good. I'm talking one Fergus, who's often in the chat sometimes, or not as much as he used to be, but he used to be. And one Glenn, who they were undeniably better at us than Overwatch.
Overwatch
right?
fanatics.
Yeah, they were Overwatch fanatics. They put in 1,000 hours easily into Overwatch, right?
On like two consoles.
On multiple platforms, you know? And here's the thing. Every time Fergus jumps into a multiplayer game with him, or every time I jump into a multiplayer game with him, I always have fun, but I'm immediately launched into an elo I don't belong in. And I start having a bad time. This is why I stopped playing Valorant. Because I only played Valorant with Ferg, Glenn, and you, and a little bit Phil there, and Phil there at the end. I would just end up in elos and not perform as well. And I found myself not enjoying the game as much because I could not compete at that level, right? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do you need to take onus and just admit, hey, I'm only in the top, I'm only, in the top 25% of players. And that's where I live. That's just where it is. You also need to take onus and be like, hey, if I got a friend who's better than me, I need to admit they're better than me. You know what? When I play with them, I need to take my ego and throw it out the door and just understand I'm going to have a rough couple of games, but I'm going to try my best to just have fun and have a good time.
Nice. So
I believe this came. I feel like this came about because we queued with one Mr. Jordan Stafford, who's another one of our friends who is in Grandmaster.
He is, and we played quick play, and we did find ourselves in games that of higher skill value than we did, but we were rolling dudes anyways. Like we were kicking ass, you know.
I feel like we were still struggling.
Well, at the end of the day, Tavin's saying these
Phil,
things.
maybe I'm better than you. You know.
Well, that's kind of the thing.
Hilarious.
Tavin's saying these things because that's how losers think. When you start thinking in that term, you admit defeat, and you'll never get better. That's definitive. Not definitive because that's how the universe works, but because the moment you're a quitter, you're a loser, you're pathetic, like this man here, is the moment you'll always be that. Because it's all about, first, a mindset.
That mindset's
well
only okay if you get
going
paid to play video games.
No.
See, there you go.
There you go.
You don't get paid to play
you have to
Marvel
get paid for it to get this so good. Oh,
because then it's just recreational. If it's just recreational, don't get toxic just because you're not the best player in the world. That's all I'm saying.
No one's saying toxic. People are saying the ability to get better is determined
And
whether
don't take it. Here's the thing. Stop putting your own self-worth, your self-value on a Marvel Rivals rank. Come on.
Don't do that.
Come on.
Don't do that. You need to keep doing that because it's the best way for how you compare yourself directly to other people, and you're inferior as a result of not losing to them. Everybody loses. But
here's the
getting
thing,
into
Tavin.
the quitter mentality.
If I'm doing well in the
is.
game, I'm doing well in life.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So don't think like him. Think as you've been thinking. Be toxic.
I mean,
please.
I'm doing well in the game. I'm not doing well in life.
Dude,
Jesus.
downer.
Hey, it is what it is. Heavy.
Moving right along.
Why do you think I'm playing so much Marvel Rivals, man? I'm depressed.
Moving right along. Let's talk about our time with these new fun Human Torch and the Thing.
I like them. I like them a lot.
I like them a lot.
I prefer the thing over the Human Torch. The Human Torch is a solid player. He's a complex player. He does require a fair amount of comprehension of kit to move around. You got to use your entire kit with him, which is cool. Right now, I don't think he outputs enough damage, and I don't think he's fast enough. He needs to be faster, and he needs to put out a little bit more damage, because right now some of his stuff is just kind of ineffective, specifically his Field of Fire ability, where you throw down different points of fire and then connect them all. That needs to do more damage, just generally.
My
the amount of
only-
setup
my-
it requires, it doesn't do enough damage.
My only complaint with him is that his like quote unquote dash move, it doesn't make him fast enough. It needs to be more like an Iron Man. Like
It needs
dash
to be
kind
more
of
like
thing.
Iron Man. And I think it just needs to I think he just needs to go into that same Iron Man pose and shoot across the screen, you know?
I would even be happy if it was like a quick dash, like almost like a quick step in the air, like it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
a quick like a little make a little line of fire with just
I
like
just
a quick
think
little
I just think
strafe.
the boosh, like the horizontal boosh of the Human Torch is iconic, where he leaves the trail behind him. And
And that's what
you
I'm saying.
can't
If,
really
if
do
it was
that.
like a quick step thing, I
Yeah.
would love that.
yeah, except it like launches you really, really far. But yeah, I think Human Torch is solid, but in terms of flyers right now, I think he's the weakest flyer.
Especially
Oh, he's-
after
I think he's
Storm
my
got
favorite.
moved. Favorite.
I mean, he can be your favorite, but he's the weakest.
Oh,
Like
I
Storm
was
is
wrecking shop
outputting
last night.
Storm is outputting massive damage right now. Storm is a top tier character right now. She needs to be nerfed, which is crazy because
I know.
she went from bottom to top. We need to find a
Yeah.
middle ground here.
The jump from season 0 to season 1 for Storm is insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man is such a useful utility character right now that in the right hands he's quite dangerous, but in most hands he's pretty weak. So yeah, I like where Iron Man is right now. He can stay right there. That's fine. Storm needs to come down a little bit. Human Torch
Johnny
needs to come up a
Storm.
little bit. But I love the Thing. The
Yes.
Thing is instantly in my rotation. I think he's fantastic. He's a top 3 tank for me to play right now.
Tap. Say that again. He's what?
The Thing is in my rotation.
No, you said fantastic. I was doing the bit
Oh,
No.
okay. All right,
fan
all
four
right,
stick, you know,
all right.
Fantastic Four 2015, where he says
Stand
it's
for stick.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's what they
15?
call it.
16.
I forgot
It's
that's the new
2015.
name.
2015.
Okay. All right. And then yeah, I love the Thing. His ult is awesome. I love the amount of damage he takes. I love how beefy he is and how much you can really feel him push the line with him, which is fantastic. I do think he is I don't think he's a top tier tank right now. I think he's only in conversation of top tier tank when paired with Invisible Woman. On his own, I think he's just a really good tank right now.
Yeah.
Right now, my top 3 tanks would probably go Magneto, Doctor Strange, and this might be biased, but I'm going to say Penny Parker, because Penny Parker in the right hands is one of the most dangerous tanks in the game.
Bullshit.
You think Magneto above Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I think Magneto's the best tank in the game right now.
No,
I
it's Doctor
think he
Strange.
outputs massive damage. I think he can also double as a key shieldsman, and it doesn't matter. His positioning of his shielding doesn't matter as much as it does with Doctor Strange. I also don't think Strange's portal ability is only useful in such small case or such unique cases that like it just feels like an ability that could. His kit would be better if that ability was something else. But I understand the portal is so iconic to Doctor Strange, you have to have it.
But like it's when it's clutch, it's really clutch.
Sure.
I think I would make the argument that Doctor Strange is better than Magneto. Both like if they're both like the only time Magneto is better than Doctor Strange is if you have a Scarlet Witch on your team and you don't have a Hulk. Because Hulk gives Doctor Strange his more powerful
got it.
expulsion ability,
yeah,
and Scarlet Witch gives Magneto so much more damage potential.
sure.
And it's
I just
think
think
that's the only time that Magneto is better than Doctor Strange.
I think for most players, Strange is going to output more damage, but I think if you have really good aim, specifically with Magneto, you're going to be able to pop your headshots and your crits way better than Strange can.
But
But
that
Strange's spread is not the same with every shot.
That does, like, from your argument that you're making, factors into when you're higher skilled. Magneto's better, but as a general thing with most players, Doctor
Strange is probably is a more useful character, for that.
He also generally is better as a tank because he survives more than Magneto. I mean, how often are we in battles and Doctor Strange is just getting focused, and yet you have team support behind him, and he's almost impossible to kill sometimes.
I just think, but when when an enemy Magneto is on the field, I feel more threatened than when an enemy Doctor Strange is on the field. When an enemy Doctor Strange is on the field, I go, fuck, we're going to have to fight this motherfucker forever.
Yeah.
But when a Magneto's on the field, I go, fuck, we're going to have to fight this guy for a longer period of time than some of the other tanks, and he's dangerous. Now, that's not the case for every hero, obviously. I think, a Doctor Strange versus a lot of the Flyers, super dangerous. Super dangerous, and then other characters and so forth, it's a scale, and it changes with that, this, that, and the third. I think definitively 1 and 2 are locked Magneto, Doctor Strange. Put them in whichever order you want. Me personally, it's Magneto at 1 for higher skill levels of play.
I still think that aside from Magneto to expand on the use of tanks, Venom would be in that conversation due to the fact he's constantly able to get in, harass things.
Yeah.
And even though he can't get kills, he does the job of distracting everybody and taking tons of damage and always being able to get out and do it again very quickly afterwards.
Yes, the thing with Venom to me is he's not dangerous, he's just annoying.
But he's like that by himself, whereas a lot of these other characters, like Magneto, for example, require somebody else to be at the peak of where he is. Venom, I don't think does.
I don't think they did.
Mm-hmm.
I think Venom is mildly dangerous at his best, and just always annoying. I do think a in the right hands, Strange and Magneto are some of the most dangerous players on the field.
Sure.
And then for me, Penny Parker is 3 because yes, Penny's great
it's
at
you.
yes, because it's me. But I also think most Penny Parker players play her wrong. She is great for locking down a location and playing defense and throwing the nest up and mines everywhere, right? That is her main purpose or whatever or one of her greater purposes. But in reality, in the right hands, she's a pushing tank. She will push the fuck out of a point and move everybody out the way. And it's not hard to push that line, drop a nest, mines everywhere. All right, now your squishies are getting killed by all of that. I'm keeping the attention of the tanks. I just need I have a healer on my back, and when it's time to ult, everybody's getting pushed off point. Like that. That's just how Penny Parker works. I don't think there's another tank that is as flexible, which is weird because she's stiff, but I don't think there's another tank that is as flexible as Penny Parker. Aside from the 2 that I already named.
Who would you guys say is the
Thor's still my
weakest
favorite.
tank?
Captain America.
Captain America
easily.
Not even
easily.
close. Yeah. I think the Thing has chance to be in that top 3 conversation. It's just a little early right now. We don't really know all the intricacies of him yet. So I think he could be there, but right now I think he's sitting in that 4 to 5 area. He's sitting with Venom at that 4 to 5 area. But yeah, I think Thing is better than Hulk. I think Thing is, which is kind of a 1-to-1 comparison between those 2. I think Thing is much better than Hulk. I like Thing more than Venom because he's more dangerous than Venom. And as someone who mains Invisible Woman, there's nothing scarier than an enemy Thing right now because I can't do anything about him. He's just going to chase me down and fuck me up.
Can't
Turn
move
invisible. Turn invisible. All you got to do.
Sometimes that doesn't work, Connor.
The jumping thing that she can do is also the next effective way because he can only punch. His charge move has some range to it, but not enough to.
You understand? She turns invisible when she jumps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
When she does her double jump.
But usually she also just turns invisible on her own, doesn't she?
That requires no input.
You just have to not. You have to not attack or do any abilities to do that.
90% of the time, you're just doing your double.
Yeah.
You also heal when you turn invisible.
Oh yeah.
Invisible Woman. Yep.
That's how she gets her.
That's why times I stop healing you because I'm invisible because I'm healing myself.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that shield down. Get behind that shield, guys. Not you guys. You guys are pretty good at it. But you guys, if you see a shield, get in front of just stand next to it. Just stand next to it and stay next to it. Flyers specifically, I'm not shooting you as Invisible Woman. I'm giving you my shield and I'm putting my attention back on the tank. All right?
Yep.
You don't get me shooting you as a flyer. If you're a flyer, here you go. Deal it with yourself. You
got to aim.
Because you're not important to me.
Well, it's also because
get on the ground and maybe you'll be important to me.
Because otherwise he can't shoot you. Because you're incapable of it.
She has a decent range, though.
I bet she's got decent range.
Yeah.
Decent range. But yeah, There's a lot of times where I'm like, you're out of range. Here's a shield. Fuck off.
There you go. Well, I think that's enough of that.
Yep.
Let's just move on.
Before we
into
do,
Connors.
Einkun is in the chat. Anybody else can join the chat.
Enrique.
He's first of all, we're not middle age yet.
How dare
So
you.
I was gonna say we're all just late 20s.
I don't have an issue with being middle aged, but I need to be middle aged for that to be true. So
Phil, are you
it's-
27?
Almost. I'll be 27 in May.
Okay. All right. Still in that mid-20s. Ass.
We're still mid 20s, you know. Me and Ash
you're
had to
still
have that
mid-twenties.
conversation.
Mhm,
Me and Ash had to have that conversation the other day, where I had to explain to her that early 20s. So like 20, you're just 20, right?
Yeah.
Early 20s, you got 21 to 23. Mid
Yes.
20s, 24 to 26.
Yep.
Late 20s, 27 to 29.
100%.
And she refused to accept that.
Hey,
I mean, that's the perfect breakdown. There's
I
no
know.
other way to how else can you perceive that?